I'll be very candid and I'll share my experiences as an industry practitioner. I have been on both sides, so my background, I have experienced the US education system as a student and then the Indian education system, and then I started my own company. Talking of graduates and their employability, which is what she's referring to, I do believe that there is a big spectrum of skill gaps that may exist, especially in lower tier institutions. That's what we have seen. In some of the top tier institutions which are more focused on some of the measures that the seniors have talked about, interdisciplinary education involving industry leaders early on, we're seeing better results. But I'll tell you, we hired from one local institution in Hyderabad, Indore, which is where we are. Then we hired with a national institution, freshers, and then now recently we have hired from IIM Calcutta, being my alma mater. I can tell you that the ramp up time for the IIM Cal guy has been the smoothest, as expected. For the others, it was a little bit of an issue. And what also that points to is...
That's because they take the best students.
Exactly.
I mean, 1.2 billion students, right?
Exactly.
CAT, and they take only 9,000 students, the IIMs.
That's the exact point I was getting to, which says that the education system... Yeah, the education system probably needs to do more at the bottom and the middle of the pyramid to get people to be more employable. And then I have a few suggestions around this on what we can do, and these are, I think some of it has been referred, but just to kind of lay it out, first it definitely starts from the Gangotri, which is the curriculum. The curriculum has to reflect the current modern industry practices. And how will that happen? Industry needs to be involved. And I saw that happening in my US university, where there were vice presidents, CEOs who would visit Purdue every week, work with the professors in fine tuning. I know it's a difficult task. How it's done is not something that we can discuss in detail today, but that is something where curriculum needs to reflect the best industry practices. Second, interdisciplinary studies has been talked about. All of us, when we are recruiting graduates, we need more well-rounded individuals today. So they may be subject matter experts, but they need to know the analytical bit, they need to know problem solving, they need to know communication skills, and the curriculum again needs to reflect that. Third, I believe that there has to be some way in which people like me, industry practitioners, can be more incentivized or enthused about being involved with the academia. That's a hard nut to crack. All of us have time constraints. But how do we get it? It's not a monetary incentive anyone is looking at anyways. But how do we build an ecosystem where industry practitioners get more enthused about building? I know that many of industry leaders are now attending convocation ceremonies. They chair the... So all of that is already happening in many institutions. But 1-2 levels deeper than that is required, where they start to contribute in a more meaningful way. Fourth, we need to get our students to focus more on the trends of the future. That's how they become employable. So things like FinTech, EdTech, AI, I think that's already happening in many institutions, but thinking futuristic where most of the jobs will get created, and then launching programs, degrees, credentials, micro-credentials if need be, which can really help in making graduates ready for a certain segment which is really booming. AI is booming right now. Analytics is booming. So I think those are some of the measures that I thought can make a significant difference. And last point, from my side, this is a practical example which I saw happening in the US in my university. They have something called a co-op program, where a student comes for the first semester, completes the first 2 semesters. For the third semester, he goes to the industry which is, or the company which has adopted that kid. Then they do a semester there, they come back, study. Then another semester in the company, come back and study. Instead of the 4-year engineering degree, it was a 5 or a 6-year degree. And there was a commitment from the company to ultimately hire the candidate, and the candidate knew that I'll ultimately get hired, so I will put in my best. I think a symbiotic relationship like that, or some innovative programs like that. So a co-op program was incredible. I mean, I really thought that made a significant difference in getting graduates early employable and getting the industry flavor in as well. So my last point is, everyone's talked about various measures, and Sumia, you mentioned about scalability. I think being a technologist myself, technology is one of the answers for scalability in a clear way. A simple example, and we're talking of finishing school, we're talking of skill building. There's so much available on the internet, on AI, etc. My 12-year-old son is learning French on Duolingo, which is just an app he uses 10 minutes a day and it's working. And there could be so many other skill sets that people can just get in a jiffy if the institutional ecosystem can direct them to that. So technology is one big answer to all the scalability issues, which is a very relevant point on how we will make it happen. But I really look at the silver lining in that, and I do believe there are answers there for all of us to have.
Sure.
Thank you.